Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Have you found yourself feeling maybe a little out of sync lately? Perhaps, subtle sense that time is bending, or maybe your mind just feels unusually heavy, even when there's no clear reason for it. If you've been sensing a kind of quiet underlying shift in the air, then this deep dive is definitely for you. Today, we're really plunging into this concept of a hidden spiritual war. We're exploring these significant energetic shifts and unraveling the awakening of what the material we're looking at calls chosen ones. All our insights for this deep dive, they come from a really fascinating YouTube video transcript. It offers a pretty unique perspective on what might be unfolding in your world right now.
Right. And our mission here for this deep dive, it's quite specific. We want to extract the most critical spiritual messages and energetic insights from this really powerful material. We'll carefully look at the nature of this hidden war, try to understand how certain individuals are being, well, activated, delve into the energetic vibrations that seem to be sweeping through humanity right now, and maybe most importantly, identify some actionable inner work you can actually do. Our aim is really to provide some clarity and maybe a solid framework for understanding these intense experiences you might be sensing, give context to things that feel unexplainable.
Yeah, and the insights we've pulled out suggest that August 3rd is, well, it's far from an ordinary day. This perspective describes it as carrying a real energetic weight, like a palpable density that spiritually sensitive people might feel deep down. So if you've recently felt off, maybe like time itself is moving strangely, or just that heaviness in your thoughts. The material suggests this isn't just random. It's a clear signal you're tuning into something pretty significant happening on a deeper level.
And what's really fascinating here is how these insights explain that even though the physical world might look unchanged, the traffic, daily routines, the news, the spiritual realm is actually stirring quite dramatically beneath it all. This date, August 3rd, it's highlighted as marking a subtle but powerful shift in frequency. And for many, the effects might already be showing up. Things like sudden, unexplained fatigue, maybe incredibly vivid dreams, those symbolic ones, or intense waves of emotion that just seem to come out of nowhere with no logical trigger, or even just that unshakable feeling that something big is about to happen. It's almost like your energetic antenna is picking up signals others are missing.
And there's a metaphysical context to this, too, according to the insights we're exploring. There's mention of powerful cosmic alignments around this time, especially involving the moon and some of the slower-moving planets. These alignments are said to amplify subconscious energies and heighten spiritual awareness. Does that resonate with you at all? It might explain why you could be feeling this intense pull to just be alone, to retreat, or why you might suddenly find yourself questioning everything, maybe sensing a quiet kind of urgency in the air. These subtle things the material really emphasizes aren't just coincidences. They're signs you're recalibrating, tuning into a higher frequency that's becoming available.
Indeed. This perspective describes August 3rd almost like a doorway, literally. It suggests that while loads of people will just walk through this day totally unaware, business as usual, for those identified as chosen ones, the feeling will be undeniable. Their soul, we learn, recognizes this specific day as profoundly important, like a pivotal moment on their path, a sign of deeper activation.
Okay, so if any of this is striking a chord with what you've been experiencing, you might be asking, how do I really know if I'm sensing this hidden spiritual war? Well, this deep dive offers some pretty clear indicators. Like, have you had those sudden, inexplicable emotional shifts lately? Intense waves of sadness, maybe anger, or even fear that just seem to bubble up from nowhere with no obvious reason. These emotional surges, we're learning, are often direct energetic feedback.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this perspective makes it clear. This isn't a visible battle. You won't see it on the news. It is fundamentally an energetic war. It plays out unseen. And this can manifest in really personal, internal ways. Maybe those vivid symbolic dreams that stick with you for days, or finding it hard to sleep, your mind just racing with thoughts that seem totally random, coming from nowhere. The insights suggest this is your system, your energetic body, reacting and adjusting to these profound shifts. It signals you're highly receptive.
And another key sign this material highlights is that strong, almost undeniable urge to isolate, to consciously pull back from external noise, whether it's constant chatter, certain draining people, or even just endlessly scrolling social media. What's crucial here, according to this perspective, is that it isn't about becoming distant or antisocial, not at all. Rather, it's your soul actively trying to protect itself, to create a kind of sacred, energetic boundary against overwhelming external stuff that might pull you off center. It's like an instinctual self-preservation, but on a spiritual level.
And fascinatingly, This hidden energetic war can even show up physically. The material points to things like random headaches, maybe persistent body tension, especially in the shoulders or neck, or even heart flutters that don't have a medical cause, particularly when you're in certain environments or having specific conversations. These aren't just random aches, they're described as direct energetic reactions. Your body signaling a clash or an overload. Plus, if you've been really questioning your life's purpose, feeling disoriented, or maybe even sensing you're being watched or guided somehow, this perspective suggests you're not imagining it. You're just becoming aware of a battle, a deeper reality that most people just don't perceive.
Okay, this brings us to a really crucial question, one I'm sure many of you are thinking about. What exactly is this hidden spiritual war? If it's not on the news, not a physical conflict, what does it all mean for us?
Well, this perspective defines it pretty clearly. It's happening silently. It plays out in your thoughts, the emotions you wrestle with, the choices you make every single day. It's framed quite profoundly as a war between your higher self, that intuitive, authentic part of you, and what the material calls old programming. Those ingrained patterns, beliefs, societal conditioning designed to keep you stuck, often in limiting ways. At its heart, it's that constant internal tension between light and illusion, clarity and confusion right in your daily life. The core insight here is that victory isn't about fighting out there, but mastering your inner landscape. Your consciousness itself is the battlefield and your greatest weapon.
And the material is super clear about what this war isn't. It really emphasizes it's not about religion, not politics, definitely not physical violence in the usual sense. Instead, it's fundamentally about control over consciousness. This struggle is primarily happening within you, shaping how you see things, your reality, rather than showing up as some big visible conflict out in the world. It's a battle for your mind, your peace, your freedom.
Exactly. This deep dive describes two distinct opposing forces in this subtle war. On one side, you've got your soul constantly pushing you to wake up, to question everything, to rise into your true potential. On the other side, you have the world, with all its distractions, subtle fears, societal pressures, constantly pulling you into self-doubt, overthinking, negativity, and the weapons in this war. They aren't guns or bombs. They're much more insidious. They show up as subtle temptations, maybe chronic procrastination, that endless loop of overthinking, comparing yourself to others, or those sudden waves of self-doubt about your own worth. The guidance offered here is powerful. Awareness is your armor. Alignment with your truth, that's your rebellion. And inner peace, that deep calm, that's your quiet victory.
This clarity around the hidden war leads us right into the concept of chosen ones. The material we're exploring talks quite a bit about them, explaining who they are and why they're being targeted, or maybe more accurately, awakened right now, especially around this energy shift. And this is where it gets really interesting, kind of revealing a deeper purpose behind it all.
This perspective defines chosen ones, not as some randomly picked group, but as souls who inherently carry a unique light, a deep awareness, and this profound sense of purpose that often feels, well, bigger than them. It explains that in times of big spiritual transition, like the one we're in, their light becomes both a guide for others and, weirdly, a perceived threat to the old systems that thrive on lower frequencies. And that's why many chosen ones might be feeling intense pressure, sudden resistance, or even chaos in their lives right now. It's not a punishment. Think of it more like a recalibration.
And it links directly to what's called a spiritual activation. This material suggests that as the world itself shifts energetically, the specific energy of these chosen ones is needed to help stabilize this new higher frequency. Now, this activation can show up in really personal, sometimes tough ways. Deep self-reflection, old wounds coming up to finally be healed, maybe even relationships that just don't fit anymore suddenly falling apart. But the insights are clear. This isn't punishment. It's described as alignment. You're essentially being stripped of what's false, what's inauthentic, so you can really embody what's real and true to your soul's blueprint.
Which naturally raises that question. Why do these individuals feel so watched, or maybe even targeted? The explanation given is that their very presence, their authentic light, inherently challenges and disrupts the old, entrenched darkness and ways of being. The material stresses that these individuals don't need a public stage to lead. Simply by choosing truth consistently, embracing their healing, building inner strength, they create this powerful silent ripple effect. It changes the collective consciousness. The profound message here is that chosen ones were never meant to fit into the old way of things. They were born specifically to shift the vibration, to lift the frequency, just by being who they are.
Okay, so for those of you listening who are sensing all this, whether you identify as a chosen one or you're just feeling these undeniable shifts, what practical, actionable guidance does this perspective give?
Yeah.
How can you align with this big spiritual transition, especially from August 3rd onwards?
Well, the perspective presents stillness as your greatest power. That's the first thing. This means consciously, deliberately tuning out the external noise. No more endless scrolling, no comparing your life to others, no frantic rushing around. Your soul, the insights say, desperately needs quiet time to recalibrate and integrate these new energies. Even just 10 minutes of real silence, focused breathing, maybe some intentional prayer, it can profoundly center your energy and align you more powerfully with what's unfolding. It's about making space for that inner guidance.
It also strongly recommends spending intentional time in nature or near water. It emphasizes that these places naturally clear energetic clutter. Think of it like a natural energetic detox for your aura, right? And deep, honest reflection is highlighted as absolutely key. This perspective really urges you to use this time to ask yourself some big questions. What am I truly being asked to let go of right now? What version of myself, what old identity just doesn't fit the path ahead? It even suggests that simply writing down your answers can bring amazing clarity to what might feel like a really overwhelming internal process otherwise.
And crucially, the insights emphasize how vital it is to protect your space, both physically and energetically. This means consciously avoiding people who drain you, disengaging from negative content that just pulls you into fear or chaos, anything that doesn't lift you up. Instead, it suggests being proactive. Set an intention for your day. Light a candle as a symbolic act. Speak a powerful affirmation out loud. Visualize your energy field strong, clean, impenetrable. This specific day, August 3rd, is highlighted as a powerful moment of inner choice. The more aligned you are with your truth, the more powerfully and gracefully you'll feel this shift unfold within you, guiding you towards your authentic path.
Looking forward now. What does this perspective suggest might change after August 3rd? What can we maybe expect in the days and weeks that follow this energetic doorway?
The insights suggest that something deep within you might feel permanently different. Even if you can't quite put your finger on it or explain it logically right away, it clarifies this isn't really about huge, dramatic external events suddenly happening everywhere. It's more of a profound internal shift, a shift in your perception, your core energy, your overall awareness. It's about a deep, lasting change in your inner landscape.
And the practical implications of that shift are actually quite interesting and kind of liberating. We learned that things you used to tolerate, maybe just out of habit or convenience, might suddenly start to feel, well, unbearable. This perspective says old habits, toxic patterns, whether thoughts or behaviors, or even certain people who just don't serve your highest good anymore, they might begin to fall away effortlessly. And this happens, it explains, because your inner frequency, your personal energetic signature, is rising. And anything that no longer matches that higher vibe will naturally start to detach. It makes space for what truly aligns with the you that's emerging.
Right. And there's also the potential for flashes of insight, sudden moments of real clarity about your path, your relationships, or what you truly deeply desire. This experience is vividly described as hitting a spiritual reset button. It suggests that the timeline you walk from this point on will align much more closely with your deepest truth if you just allow it without resisting. What's truly meant for you will start finding you faster. And any discomfort you feel during the shedding process, you should trust it implicitly because it's making that essential space for divine alignment to really manifest in your life.
So if you've resonated with any part of this deep dive, if you've stuck with us this far, it's a pretty powerful sign that your soul is listening. And according to this perspective, that's absolutely not a coincidence. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed sometimes, and you're certainly not behind for needing deep rest right now. In fact, these feelings are presented as powerful signs that you are spiritually awake in a world that often, well, tries to keep people energetically numb or distracted. This hidden war we've been talking about, you're already winning it, simply by choosing awareness over autopilot, presence over distraction.
Yeah. This perspective leaves us with a really impactful final thought. This whole spiritual journey, it isn't about striving for some kind of impossible perfection. It's about consistently choosing to just be present. It emphasizes how critical it is to trust your inner guidance, even when it feels quiet or subtle or uncertain sometimes. The universe, it reminds us, doesn't usually shout. It whispers. Through those little intuitive nudges, through synchronicities that seem too perfect to be chance, and through the clear signals of your emotional compass.
So as you move forward from this moment, just remember this powerful truth. You are not merely chosen for this pivotal time. You were meticulously built for it. And the profound shift, it truly begins and unfolds with you. Stay grounded in your truth. Fiercely protect your inner peace, and please honor your sensitivity, because the insights from this deep dive insist that your sensitivity isn't a weakness. It's actually your greatest gift, your most powerful navigation tool. We really hope this deep dive into these profound energetic shifts and spiritual awakenings gives you some valuable context and maybe some deeper understanding for your own unique journey.